I'll get certainty once my business actually starts working. And okay, like a person standing in front of a mirror, we go, I'm not smiling till I see it. Certainty is not the absence of doubt. Certainty neutralizes doubt. It's not the removal of doubt, it's the neutralization of doubt. In this chasm between intention and acquisition is chaos. That's what we have to pay for the thing that we want. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at, this is because perspective changes position. More data equals less risk. More data comes from more failure. Let's talk about the mirror. Anybody stood in front of a mirror in their bathroom and looked at themselves? You? Yeah, I know you do it. What's the mirror's job? It shows you exactly what's there. And so it's a pretty quick effect. What we say is the light's bouncing off of something where it's pretty quick. So if you're standing in front of a mirror and you smile, how quickly do you see that? Technically not instant, but fast enough that it feels instant. Yep. Imagine Kim is standing in front of a mirror. You're fixing her hair and getting ready for the day. And she wants to see that mirror smile. But she is not willing to smile until she sees it. I'll be grateful once God answers my prayer requests. I'll feel better once I have some proof. I'll get certainty once my business actually starts working. And okay, like a person standing in front of a mirror, we go, I'm not smiling till I see it. This is our life. Guilty. Guilty is charged. So the mirror of the physical is like straight in front. You have just light reflecting off of something. But what if there was a mirror in the spirit? What if there was a mirror in how situations show up in a person's life? The mirror would not be face to face. It would not be horizontal. It would be vertical. As above, so there's a replication effect happening. Let your will be done on earth as it is in up, down, right? There's a problem with this mirror, though, and the problem is that the mirror is delayed because it's creation, not reflection. It's very easy to reflect something at you. It takes a little bit more time to create it. Anybody have Amazon? Amazon.com, Amazon app? We buy everything from Amazon. Just Amazon boxes all the time. All the time. They even give us an option to, delay one or two so that they can use less boxes. I'm like, no, need it tomorrow. Need that tomorrow. It's your problem. You gave me the option. I'm going to take the expedient route. On the app sometimes, maybe not in Springfield, I don't know how the infrastructure is now, but just kidding. Okay, I lived there, I can just say that. But in certain cities, they have the app where it says 6 houses until your house. You have that in Springfield? Amazing, okay. Praise God for that. And so you can track it. You look at this Amazon package, you've got 6 houses, 5 houses, 4 houses. About to get my pre-workout. 3 houses. 2 houses. 1 house. They cancel the order. Why? You paid for it, you waited for it, and then you canceled it? What would this make us? A little bit crazy. This is what we do in the Spirit. We have this thing. We pray for it. We want it. We begin to pay for it. Not because we have to earn all of it, but because there is always a transaction for creation. Nothing's free. There's always a transaction. If you want to create something, you will always pay for it. Whether you pay that through sacrifice, whether you pay that through suffering, whether you pay that through patience, currencies, all of them are currencies. So we pay for something, it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. It's been 5 years, I'm done, not waiting anymore. One house left, we cancel the order. This is rough. You see it? We have to build a reserve of certainty. This word that it doesn't mean it's the absence of doubt. Certainty is not the absence of doubt. Certainty neutralizes doubt. We neutralize. It's not the removal of doubt, it's the neutralization of doubt. What does it mean to neutralize something? It's still there, but it has no power. This is where you can get into some cool theology around mustard seeds. Everyone loves preaching about mustard seeds. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. But the size is completely irrelevant. It's nothing to do with the size. It's the type. There's a different type of faith. A mustard seed would have been like an aggressive, invasive type of plant. You would not put a mustard seed in a garden. Yeah, unless you wanted the whole garden to be mustard seed. You put it in the garden, and there's a boom, killed everything. Everything's a mustard seed. So when Jesus was talking, he said this crazy, crazy stuff, then walked away. That was his way of sharing the gospel. And it's crazy that it works. There's no pads behind him, no altar anywhere. He would just say, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. Got it? Cool. On to the next thing. And people would follow him around. They'd be like, whoa, hey, wait, why would you plant a mustard seed in a garden? Exactly. Because we're talking about faith. You know, that thing that's an ingredient in your brain that builds certainty. And when something else comes into your brain that breeds doubt, bam, kills it. It's aggressive, violent, territorial. This is the type of faith he was talking about that converts a human into a human weapon of certainty. Who do you know that has ridiculous certainty? Let's just look for him real fast. Or who do you know of that has ridiculous certainty? Elon Musk. Dude is certified nut job. Crazy. Who else? LeBron James. Undeservedly so, but yes. Donald Trump. Yeah. Who else? You're a 6-year-old. Okay, getting it. Abraham, massive certainty. We're talking about ridiculous amounts of certainty. It's not that they didn't have doubt. You got to know he had a little bit of that. It was hanging out. It was that the doubt became irrelevant. It was so overgrown by the certainty of the faith that he had that he was able to make it happen. This is what we have to power the mirror. Not the mirror in front of us, but the mirror, the vertical integration, the mirror. So we talked about a delay, right? There's a delay between what we want and what we have, this delta. What's inside of this delay? Problems, obstacles, doubt. Come on, so you're in the middle. You tell me. You're living it. Huh? Lessons. It's a very positive approach. Thank you for making us feel bad. Questions. Sin, which is a weird topic to bring up because technically you want to know what sin is. Any deviation from what God said and how we said it. So we're like all of it. People love to talk about like, oh, don't do this, don't do that. And it's like, Me and Brad had a conversation about this, about how the most intolerable person, and we're talking about tolerating other people's behavior. Can you say what you said, actually? God doesn't tolerate your... Yeah. Which is a good thing. We'll hit that tomorrow. Okay, certainty. Here's the game. Ready? How much certainty do I need to accomplish what I'm going to accomplish? This is the game. How do I build that certainty? There's a myriad of ways that we can use to build certainty. How many of us have felt ourselves reading a certain book and getting more certainty? Have you ever noticed this? Begin to pay extreme attention to the way that your body feels when you're doing something. Most people have no idea. They do not know. Certain music will come on and it will make me feel different. Has this ever happened? I remember. Don't sleepwalk through this. Certain people will show up on my social feeds and I will feel different. Happened to you? Remember. We have to know what is it that builds our certainty, because it's not random. It's happening all the time. In this chasm between intention and acquisition is chaos. That's what we have to pay for the thing that we want. It's chaos. Life is not going the way I wanted it to. The thing that I wrote down in Nashville about my words, like those words aren't even true anymore. The picture doesn't look like right now. That's because you're in the creation territory of the chasm. Make sense? And the answer is always going to be certainty. How do we build that certainty? Let me take you into some topics on this. We got 27 minutes. We're going to rush through it. We good? I'm going to speed up. Is that okay? Wayne Dyer, who's ever heard of him? When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at. This is because perspective changes position. When you get the right perspective on something, your position, your expectation, what you feel certain about will also change. And so it's our responsibility to get the right perspective, not God's responsibility, not your husband's responsibility, not the president's responsibility. That'll take you into some crazy places. It's our responsibility to get the right perspective. When we get the right perspective on something, we begin to feel our way into how we're supposed to feel in the moment. So remember, we talked about the types of certainty, where we get it. Number one is memories. Number two is model. Number three is mission. Inside of these three areas, we have games that we can play. And the reason I say games is because it's helpful for me to think about what I'm doing and where I'm going as non-consequential as possible, non-existential. When you look at what you're going through and it becomes existential, it means you've got a God that is trying to take the place of something else. This is life or death. How do we reduce the importance of something? We have to replace it with a superior importance. Okay? Make sense? You want an example? Huh? I view it as a game. An infinite game. Simon Sinek, great book on this. It never stops. Well, it's a game for me because as soon as something becomes too important for me, I start to lose my resolve. I start to have fear. I start to have all these other things. So if you think about it logically, you okay? If you think about it logically, what game are you playing right now? Yeah. Life, mission. Uh-huh. Sorry? That's the game? Okay. Great. That's an awesome game. What game are you playing, Larry? Chess? Great game. Pick them. Find them. We're trying to give ourselves models of how we would behave inside of a certain setting. That's what we're trying to do. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a game. Very strategic game. What happens when you look at your life through the lens of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Well, as long as you're breathing, you have options. True or false? Okay. This would be a game. So take this inside of a business context. As long as I'm breathing, I have options. We begin to see our lives through this lens of this is a game we have to play, and the person who lasts the longest gets the prize. Quitting is tapping out, but at least you don't die if you tap out. When our intention doesn't match the outcome, we will lose certainty. Here's what I mean by that. Think about you know how your attention works, like when you're paying attention to something? Certain things are not like the others. So you hear your kid's voice, but you hear his voice, and like, never. Certain things require a forced eject to pay attention to something. So attention is what we are looking at. When we have something that is important to us, it puts a lot of attention on that thing. If we want our attention to be free, we have to reduce the importance of that thing. There's a reason why I'm taking us through this process for a second. Because if we have the intention to get to the top of the mountain and we have our attention on all the people who died trying to get to the mountain, what are we creating? Conflict, massive conflict. If we have our intention, which is what do we expect, on building a great business, and we have our attention on how bad the economy is, what are we creating? You can't play the game this way. You won't have the staying power to do it. So we can force our attention to line up with our intention if we can put it in the context of a game. How would I win this game? This is very easy to give someone else advice, right? Because you're not the one underwater. That's why it's easy. You can coach really well when I'm getting choked out. If you're getting choked out and don't know how to get out of it, well, coach yourself, bro. It's not the same. So like cobbler's kids have no shoes. So what if you stepped out of yourself for a second and you looked at yourself from behind? You said, oh, here's how you would play this game. Here's how you would do this. What's the intention? How do I line up my intention with that thing? You get it so far? Now, how do we learn in the middle of this? F-A-I-L-U-R-E. What's it spell? That's how we learn. When we think about the context of learning is important. We want to grab new lessons from the things we're going through. What do you see on the left top side of the image? Stimuli, but the blue box is predictive. Everything that we do that we don't know how to do is predictive. We have a prediction protocol. What's my hypothesis? Well, my hypothesis is if I go to Nashville and I sit in this room with this guy, then maybe, it will be not that bad. Predictive. So we have no data for it. We have no idea. Lauren said it would be a good idea. I trust her. It's either going to be that bad, what we feared, or it's going to be not that bad. But no matter what it is, what did we pick up? Data. Because we did it. On the right-hand side of this, we have tuning. And with data comes tuning. And we're going to get into this tomorrow because this graph creates looping. Last time I went to this event with this guy in Nashville, it was awful. So therefore, I'm going to tune my models. I'm not going back to Nashville. This is how it would work. Really base case example. But we have this in everywhere else. Last time I tried to build this business, it hurt me. So I'm going to tune my models, and I'm going to predict that the next time it's also going to hurt me. Got it? We have a review process once we get to the other side. Once we complete an experience, we have a review process. What does this mean? What happened? Did it suck? Nope, it was great. Why was it great? and we review so that we can tinker with our predictive modeling once we are represented with that risk. This is a giant loop. Do you guys see this? Okay. If we have the right view of failure, we will almost always have our attention go to where our intention is. It is an improper view of failure that breaks this, creates fear. So we have to retrain how we view failure. Picture that you have 10 options. How many? 10. Not that hard. We're going to do an easy one. Let's say that 3 of the options are guaranteed to work and 7 of the options are guaranteed to fail. What are the odds of success? 30%. What are the odds of failure? Is that a pretty good deal? Not that great, but let's go with it. We try one option and it fails. What really just happened to this operating system? Our odds got better. Because why? We failed. Scratch that off the list. Let's say we take another step. What happens? If we fail, what happens? Not linearly, exponentially. Because 1 out of 7 is 14. 1 out of 6 is 16. We go again, fail again. What just happened? Got even better, like 20% increase in the odds. And this is what failure does to an operating system. Failure is an operating system upgrade to our predictive modeling. It's not bad. It is a great thing. We just have to learn to look at it the right way. And if we look at it the right way, we will celebrate when we try and then need to try again. No information. When you're making a decision with no information, you have the highest upside of something, but you also have the highest risk. When you're making a decision with 100% information, you have the lowest upside, but you also have the lowest risk. So what I want us to do is put our brains into this position where we can learn to view risk, upside. And what increases the upside? What increases the upside? A lack of data. What increases the certainty? More. And what gets us data? Failure. Loop it again, okay? More data equals less risk. More data comes from more failure. We having fun? Yeah. Well, failure. I love to fail. Let's train it real fast. You want to train some certainty? Because the certainty we can get is what's going to give us the toleration effect to be able to make it through this failure without quitting. So let's train our certainty. Just a real quick exercise. It'll be so much fun. Try it. You'll like it. I promise. It's not like the values exercise. Here's what I want you to do. 3 minutes. I want you to describe your perfect life 6 months from now. Perfect life. Now, if when you're thinking about your perfect life, you begin to insert all of the reasons why that's not probable, that proves the point you have to be in the room tomorrow. This is what's wrong with you. We'll fix it. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. What's your perfect life look like? Don't just write down all of the reasons why it can't happen. What's perfect? Second thing I want you to write down, and I'm tuning this for a business community, so I'm not like love of money, mammon, don't judge me. I'm just tuning this for business. How much money is in your bank account? Write that down too. It better be perfect. If it's not perfect, don't write it down. I don't want your failure uniform. I want the perfect uniform. Third question. I want to know how you got so lucky. How'd you do it, man? And then the last question, what's it smell like on a random Thursday morning? Some weird questions. Just go with me. Try it. What's it smell like on a random Thursday morning? You walk outside. What's that smell like? Describe it for me. 3 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's what we're doing. The Amazon package, remember? The Amazon package, canceling it right before we get there. The mirror, I want it to smile first before I want it to do this first. I'm not going to be grateful before God gives me my toys. I'm leaving. We have to feel it. It's got to come in. We need to reclassify our entire lives for just a quick second. This is what I'm going to do in the last 7 minutes of today because it's super important. I was in a season of my life where I was not willing to thank God until he did his job and gave me what I was asking for. And it was brutal. Brutal. Because we think sometimes when we grow up that God's just like our dad. Thank God he's not. He's different. But we're like, this is how human interaction works. This transaction. I scratch your back. You scratch mine. There's got to be a sequence here. I remember sitting in my sunroom one time, and for the first time in my life, I was honest with God about what I was doing. Why wasn't I honest before? Because you can't. Like, how would you be honest with the most powerful thing in the world? That's disrespectful. He knows your thoughts, dummies. He's like not confused. Like, I'm not going to talk to God that way. I'll be disrespectful. And he's like, I'm hearing your thoughts. This might as well practice honesty. And I sat in my sunroom and I said, okay, I'm hearing from God at this point. I'm listening, but he's not giving me what I'm asking for. Whose fault is that? Well, obviously God's. I'm not all powerful. So I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I'm not going to defect because I've seen too much. But you're a bad dad. Because you could have seen all this and you could have fixed it and you didn't. I will worship you, but I don't know how to trust you. And then my relationship with God began. Because I was having a conversation with the source of my frustration. You ever been upset with somebody, and instead of talking to that person, you're talking all around them? We do it. We do it with God. You meet up with your friends, how you doing? Oh, rough. I just wish God would do this, you know? It's just spiritual gossiping. What if we just took it back to the source of it and we were just honest? And what started happening is I started to get insight, wisdom, revelation. There are these things. All revelation is fired by honesty. It's impossible to have a revelatory word or relationship with someone that you will not talk to and you do not trust. So I had to start having these conversations. And I saw my life in one moment. I saw this picture of a bunch of these Amazon boxes. The story I told you, they were coming to me. And I was right before they were being delivered, cancel. And what's happening in the spirit, I'm taking my faith away from this. I can't hang on any longer. Canceled. 5 years of praying for something, waiting for something, working for something, and then that's not fair. I'm done. Canceled. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? My whole life, I have paid for things that I never received. This is what we're trying to train here is if you are going to pay for it, you're 5 years in, you better get it. You paid for it. You paid for it in what? Money, sacrifice, patience, resilience, long-suffering. You can get it if you hang on to it. We lack certainty because we do not have faith. I'm not just talking about the church kind of faith. I'm talking about the molecule of faith, the substance of faith. I can't see it here, but I'm going to see it every day here. The substance of things, what? Hoped for and unseen. So you don't have to see it in the physical. What you have to have is the certainty until it's created in the physical. And part of the ways that we can do that is we can, what does the psalmist say? Forget not all his benefits. Well, that means it's okay to remind yourself that there is a benefit to hanging on. Like some of the gospel is a bit self-centered. It's a little, like, it's all about you. I don't think that the whole thing exists so that you can just come through martyr yourself and not make a difference. But we need things to make a difference, and we can latch onto this. So when you see it, what is your life in 6 months? What does it look like? Random, speak it up. What did you write down? 6 months, perfect life. What does it look like? Describe it. Articulate it. Peaceful. What else? Profitable. Okay. This is breeding certainty. This is what we're supposed to do. Colossians 3, focus your mind on the realities of heaven, not the realities of circumstance, this world, this earth. All of this stuff follows a spiritual physics. There's physics in the spirit. We want to build extreme certainty. We have to see it. Not in the physical. We have to see it in here. If we can't see it, we'll cancel the package before it gets here. I have more discipline than almost anyone I've ever met. And I was canceling packages left and right, canceling them. And when I got to the place where I was honest enough about how I feel about it, God started giving me the secrets to how to hang on to these things. This is the law of the mirror. This is what the New Agers are trying to teach when they talk about the law of the mirror. But it came from the New Testament. And before that, it came from Abraham. He was teaching the Egyptians about it. And before that, where else did it come from? Barashet. In the beginning, God. Barashit. I thought. I spoke. I created. Woven together. One thread. I thought. I spoke. I created. We have to think so that we can, and when we think and speak, we what? Create. This is how it works. This is the currency of our faith. Does it make sense? What we have to do is we're layering right now. So we're layering this. So your picture that you created, you have to layer it together with ingredients. Smell, eyes, step out, look at yourself looking at it. What does it look like, feel like? And what's happening is our certainty rises with our exposure to it, and certainty then bleeds out of us and creates the world around us. But not before it's tested, unfortunately. So we have to be tested in it. We have to have the musculature to hang on to it. We got to practice this. And practice it tonight, practice it tomorrow. Does it make sense? We good so far? I'm 1 minute over time. My apologies. Do we have any questions before we wrap? With the FTC, I had that honest conversation with God in the sunroom, and I got in a lot of trouble for it because my wife was like, you know, why do you feel that way about God? And then it just got like an onion. It's like peeled and unpeeled. And so the first honest conversation I had with God led to another honest conversation with God, which led to another honest conversation. Before you know it, I'm just like, I hate everything. Like I've got to rewire everything. And God was cool. He was super cool. And it's the only way I can describe it. Where it's like, you're not going to get burned. Lightning's not going to strike you from heaven. He's like, oh, cool. You're a son now, because slaves don't complain like that. Got a little bit promoted. And so he started talking to me about it. Why do you feel that way? Well, you could have changed it. Why do you think that I should have? Tell me how you're feeling. And we started having these conversations. And the whole saw the vision of the Amazon thing, and I was like, okay, I'm in this position with the FTC. They haven't settled yet. They're asking for $20 million. Yeah. It's the government. They don't run out of money. They don't run out of time. They run out of everything else in the world, but they don't run out of that. So I'm like, I don't know how to deal with them. So I was like, I know what I'll do. $600,000. This idea didn't come from God. This is just me figuring it out. I'm going to learn. You can ask my wife later. 600 was the number from the very beginning. I can pay 600,000 just to get it to go away. They came back. They said, how about 2 million? I had 600K in my mind, and I'd seen them signing the agreement for 600K. All of a sudden, I just felt a little bit like, no. I'd seen it. It started, I was like, it's in my body. It's like in my instincts are like, no. Before I was like, oh, what do we do? What if they take my house? And then it's just started to change. Just started to see this and visualize this. I'm going to teach you the real lesson in a second. Send us an offer of $2 million. I told the attorney, hang up on him next time. I don't care. I was getting like, no, I'm going to do $600,000. Don't tell them. The attorney never told them $600,000. They went from 2.5 to 2 to 1.2 every time. No fear either. It was weird what happened. Like I started really, I've lived this. I've already seen it. That's my timeline. And so I stopped having this like reaction to them. I was like, nope. Not 600. Nope. Nope. And it was in August of 2023. They got on the phone with the attorney and they said, how's 600? And my attorney said, yep, we've been talking about it. 600 is good. And I signed it. A week after I signed it, I was on a walk, and I heard the Holy Spirit say, how are you? I said, I'm good. Glad to be done. He said, how do you feel? Relieved, like I can sleep for the first time. That's good. If your number was 0, I would have made it happen. I was like, dude. Which is why I've changed my material. And I'm telling you, ask God for a picture. And it's difficult because most times we reject the picture because it's better than we can imagine. But we have to train ourselves to look at it the way God looks at it. Oh, I can't see. This looks too good. Everyone who has struggled to hear from God, if you get down to the real root code, they're afraid of what he's going to say. Everyone who has struggled to hear from God is afraid of what he's going to say. Once you know what he's going to say, you're like, dude, tell me something. It's too good to be true, yeah. We're going to practice this tomorrow. This is our last session because God's going to tell you things that he thinks about you. You're going to take it with you for the rest of your life. But when he tells you, you're going to be like, don't think that was God. Why? Because he said I was a perfect mother. Who would say that? God did. That's what he thinks about you. We got to get used to like, this is how God views me. I'm just going to go with it. So yeah, he was like, if you would have made the number 0, I would have given it to you. I'm like, man, you could have told me that. He said, you didn't ask. So I didn't. Which is empirically noted in the Bible, by the way. God's getting upset with people all the time because they ask for something small. And he's like, if you would have asked for this, I would have given it to you. But when we don't have certainty, we can't contain it. We can't ask for it. We can't hang on to it. This is all practicing. We're just practicing, getting our reps in. Make sense? Great question. Thank you. Thank you for being here too. You light up the worlds. I don't know anything else about you, but you make me happy. Who else? We good? Let's get a mic over here. God doesn't move the earth without a man. In fact, people are like, he could have, but the only way he was willing to fix the system was through his system. He had to send God through a man because that's the system. So he will not move the earth without the partnership of a man. Let me get you after. We are at 5 o'clock. We have to be out of the venue. One quick other point on that. Manifestation has labels on it. So you just ask God to give you the correct label for that. Because the only way for faith to create is it manifests. But we've demonized it a little bit because of crazy people.